To just calm down and let things happen. Like, yes, work towards your goals, have goals to work towards, but understand that not everything is going to happen. Failing is such an important part of growing up. Like, kids being raised to get participation trophies and stuff like that is stupid. And not everything's going to be the way you want to. You're not always going to get the job. You're not always going to get the grades. It's okay to fail classes. So if shit happens that's off your track, it's okay. Just keep working towards it, and whatever's supposed to happen will, even if it's not what you originally planned.
I throw the Yola in the pot, let it simmer and babe. Add a little baking soda, make it foam like aftershave. I like to serve my dope wet, cause it weigh a hell of a lot more. You can smell a residue in the fumes from next out. Turf superstar, microwaves and pickle jars, portable digital scale, custom painted muscle cars. Pimpin' with a razor blade, use a safety pin. What they going for? Nigga, what you tryna spin? When it's a drought, I just sit on my dope and wait for the prices to skyrocket and rise like real estate. I got that ice cream, that candy, that girl, that white. My Chrysler Charger 2006 hit me tight. I'm a D-boy, booch. I thought you knew, just like every other motherfucker in my crew. Bundle in the bushes, chopper up in the tree. AK will light up your chest like E.T. White girl.
Sitting here was all with Paul, and I was gonna say Vicky. Tori. What's the place called? Mehung Sung. Intro. I record.
Are you recording?
Yeah, I just recording my nonsense. Alright, so it's like the 28th time I'm trying to record this. I'm out here on the street now, gather my thoughts. I was kind of rambling off and got confused for a second. But let's get right into it. Alex Johncola. Damn it still doesn't sound right when I say it. I don't know. I'm gonna leave you, Alex. I don't think it's a real name. But she's your this is how I saw her, like your classic Florida white girl who is borderline genius, but also likes to party. We'll get into that a little bit in the conversation, but it's one of my people. I want to go out there, but also I'm terrified that either of us might die. Probably me. No way I can keep up with her. But she is the, I guess technically, officially, like the third in command here, soon to be second, or at Kindred Spirit. And she's just an amazing employee, has amazing personality, very strong-willed, independent, strong, independent woman. But just everything about her just radiates a sense of confidence and power that you're hard-pressed to find in anywhere in the world, from man or woman. Like, even someone who's 50-year-old, 30 years in the profession, with all the confidence of the world. Like, Alex holds that same kind of aura protrudes from her. I think I'm using big words. I don't know, getting ahead of myself. But you just feel that radiating from her, and it's been great getting to know her. She's a lot of fun. Like I say, like at the beginning of the podcast, like I've spent like every day on the project with her at some point, on the hikes every morning at least. So it's been fun just getting to observe and watch and be kind of creepy and just watch her from the corner. No, not too creepy. I was there, and had a lot of fun with her, dude. It was a good time just getting to sit down and talk to her. We tried to do it drunk. We tried to buy some rice whiskey, but they're sold out, man. They weren't gonna re-up till night, so we had to do this sober. This is my second sober podcast. I don't know. I'm a changed man now. I don't know if I like it, but it was a great time. I'm sure you guys will. I mean, if you listen to this, then you're gonna love this conversation. Well, here she is, an amazing young woman. Me, Alex.
Mondo.
I was thinking about it right now, and you're literally like the only person that every single day I've been here, like I spent it with you, as far as I could think.
We have.
Yeah, like
you're right.
Every morning in the hike, every time. So I've gone to see you a lot, like just interact with people, interact with me, interact with whatever, and just like do your job. And something that's really stood out to me is just like how professionally or how responsibly and how serious you take everything. Like, you joke around, you're a fool. I mean, you have a good time with everyone, but at the same time, like, you're business. Like, you don't want anyone getting hurt. You know what the product is, what it's about, its message. It's just everything about it. You've just handled it so great, like, in my opinion. But and the craziest part is you're freaking 23 years old, right?
Yeah, I'm a baby, 23.
Yeah. You're literally the youngest person I've had on here. or that I've talked to, like, in one of these. I think the other one's like 25 maybe. But it's funny, yeah, just seeing that from you, because I think of myself at 23, I was like, there's no way, like, I'd be overwhelmed with all this, with just, I mean, even just being out here on my own. So it's just crazy to see that. But before we get into anything else, the most important thing we need to talk about is how Johncola is not a real name.
It is. Born and raised Johncola. Even if I ever get married, I don't plan on taking their last name. Because Johncola is a fucking great name.
What is that?
It originally was Italian. It was Gian, G-I-A-N, Johncola. But when my great-grandparents came over, on my dad's side, full-blown Italian, they changed it to Americanize it, so it became Johncola. No one ever believes me, but that's my last name.
That's hilarious.
Alex Johncola.
And it's Alexandra. Johncola.
And growing up in school, I was so used to just being called Johncola.
Really? That's funny. Yeah, I didn't do that. I was thinking, I saw
you
Facebook,
asked me 3 times. You're like,
Instagram.
wait a minute, that's your name?
Yeah. I was like, no way. I was like, there had to be a nickname, had to be a middle name, had to be something.
It's the real deal.
That's impressive. Yeah, that's the most, like...
It's a fucking great name.
That's the craziest fact about you.
Well, I'm pretty boring.
But it's been, yeah, like I said, it's been amazing just to watch you work. It's been a good time. Like, you've made me feel welcome. I'm sure, like, with everyone else, too. Like, you just, like I said, you're here to keep everyone safe and, like, safe and do your job.
Yes.
Give me a little bit about your background, dude. Born and raised in
Tampa, Florida. Born and raised Tampa, Florida. I'm a Florida girl. Growing up, I have 2 sisters. My mom has always been in my life. My real father, not really, but I do have a stepdad who's great. And my sisters and my mom have been my best friends my whole life. And I've always been this crazy little girl that wanted to run all over the world. My mom loves to tell people that when I was young, I said I wanted to grow up and work with animals in Africa. So I was like 8, maybe.
Damn.
8 years old, and that's always what I wanted to do. So, huge nerd, if you haven't figured that out. I'm the biggest nerd in the world. So I was very focused on school growing up. I did play soccer or football, whatever.
And your dad's a basketball
My
coach,
dad's basketball coach. So I've just always been very active, but very focused on school. In high school, I was nerded out. It's all I did. In college, I was very, very focused. I swayed a little bit from animals, wanting to do chemistry and forensic science, but it always went back to it. So at 18, I finished high school, and I told my mom I'm going to Africa, booked a flight, and I went by myself. So I worked. It was my first time.
Did your parents pay for that? Did you pay for that? Or
oh, they helped.
Okay.
But I did, most of all my travels have been mainly me, unless it's like a little bit of help with flight money for Christmas or something like that. But my parents are very helpful. I'm very lucky, and I'm very fortunate. But I am also very independent from them. I hate asking for help.
Yeah.
So I booked a flight, went to Africa, worked with cheetahs for 2 weeks. And that was my first time really going abroad, and I went by myself.
Were you not terrified?
No, I was so excited.
So
I felt like I was going home. Like, I love Africa. Africa is absolutely amazing. I got there, and it was a little scary, but in a really good way.
Yeah. That's so crazy to me, dude, because I freak out, I tell people who travel alone. I mean, a bunch of people, we've come across a bunch of people that do it. It's like, even I have Rosella, and I still feel like overwhelmed sometimes. It's just like lost. So I couldn't even imagine like going across the world.
It is very overwhelming, but I think it's when it's something you've always wanted to do. Like, ever since I was little, it was go to Africa, work with animals, and originally I thought my career, I wanted it to be around big cats. So that's why I worked with cheetahs. And then after that, I just caught the bug. I went back to Africa the next year. The first year is actually when I first saw an elephant, and just like on a safari, and I fell madly in love.
Really?
And that right then and there was the day that I decided that I wanted to work with elephants for the rest of my life.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I went back the next year, back to South Africa, but I worked with elephants. I was a research volunteer at a sanctuary, fell madly in love again. It's just, I haven't been able to stop traveling since.
That's so crazy to me, because I'm like the exact opposite, dude. Like, I'm not a big traveler. Like,
That's how my sister is.
It's never been my thing.
She's 24. She's not even a year older than me. And her and her boyfriend just bought a house 5 minutes from my parents' house with their 2 dogs. And then here's me talking about coming home homeless and just squatting up in their house. I've gotten very comfortable. I'm more comfortable when I'm in an abnormal situation. So if I'm out in a market in Thailand and no one speaks English and I don't know what anything is around me, that's when I feel most comfortable.
Really?
I got very comfortable in the weirdness. But I'm really weird, so it makes sense. Going home and everyone around me speaking English is is weird. I don't like it.
Is it just because you get bored with it? Or
I think so. I get very bored. At home, I never last more than a year at a job. Because
Really?
I get so bored and I quit and then I go travel. Until I have no money and then I do it again.
It's so nuts to me, dude. Like I said, like I can't even fathom like your where your mind is at. Not in a bad way. It's just like
no, I know.
I'm just
It's
not
weird.
there. I'm just not there.
It's different. Even I meet people that are 22, 23, and I'm like, wow, they're so young. They're same age.
No,
like they seem so young. They're 22. Oh.
yeah, like so like I think of myself at 22, 23, like I was not. I feel, or just looking back, like, I don't feel like I could take on like working in a position like this or just being around this many people, especially.
Yeah, the people are. It is very overwhelming. The people are amazing, but I am a loner. I am a lone wolf. I like to just sit with animals, mainly dogs. You can't tell, but I do love it. I have friends all over the world. Like almost any country I could want to go to, I have someone I could call.
Crash.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I do take time to focus on myself. If there's a big group that I'm interacting with and it's great, I go spend an hour or two just sitting at home with the dog for me time, because I am big on mental health. It was an issue at home, and here it's so much better, but I do take pride in having that alone time and acknowledging when it's necessary, especially when you live in a village, and if you are in your head, you can't get out of your head. So it's important to take that time and go sit with the dog.
Yeah, no, that
it's like my emotional support animal.
Stress puppies.
He is. He's my
stress puppies.
My stress shithead.
But even that statement itself right there, dude, like that's such a mature level of self-awareness that no way I could have had that at 23. And was that something that was developed because of you, like you said, you went down a dark road, or is that something that you just always knew?
University was really tough. And it was, I mean, I was on Adderall and I was high stress, not sleeping a lot. I went into university with a year's worth of credits because I was a huge nerd in high school, but it was all the histories, the English classes. So I went in as upper level science courses. Yeah, so I went straight into like organic chemistry, integrative animal biology, microbiology, animal behavior, all these hard classes. And I didn't focus on myself. I was also still working. Luckily, I was able to live at home. Yeah. So I didn't have to stress about rent and this and that. But I was very hard on myself.
Schoolwork.
Yeah, very, very hard on myself. Oh, yeah. Absolute perfectionist. If there's one little thing wrong, and I'll reread it 7 times before I am comfortable with it. So I realized how bad it was and how stressed I was and how unhappy I was in general, even though I had great friends, I had great family, like I was getting the grades I needed, but I was just so hard on myself. So
and how old were you at this point?
18, 19.
That's so nuts.
Because I went in and it was just full blown.
Yeah.
And I've always, when I was younger, I used to just think that I'd get tired and sad sometimes, but I realized I just go into some places and it's stuck in my head. So once it was high stress, it became much worse.
Yeah.
But then once I realized, I got into yoga and I got into meditating, tripped on acid for the first time. It really helped with that. Just learned, like, it's okay. It's okay to not always be happy. It's okay to be stressed. You just need to take the time and just sit and read and breathe.
Whatever it is for you.
Yeah. Pet a dog.
It's the little things.
It's the little things, yeah.
No, but yeah, dude, that's a huge thing. That's something that I've barely come to figure out about myself over the past couple years as well. Like, I want to say manic states, but like I have days and hours and whatever it is to where like I just get down, and like you said, like I get down on myself and just like it feels like the world's going down. And like you hear when I'm talking about depression, anxiety, and whatever it is, but you never, I mean, I guess you don't really know what it is, or you can't communicate, express it until like you're there. Until
you feel your chest is just clenched and you can't breathe.
Yeah.
You can't really explain it to people.
And I, like I said, it's only something I realized recently. So it's, I warn Rosella ahead of time because, like you say, you get more self-aware and you're able to like, you're able to pinpoint it out, like when it's gonna happen. Then you can mediate it, doing whatever you need to do. But I tell Rosella, I was like, all right, this is gonna be. I think I talked about this with Chris for a little bit too. I was like, dude, it's gonna be a tough day. Like I might be a jerk, or I might just not want to talk or something. It's like I'm just
I always tell Jade, I say I'm in one of my moods, or I'm in a mood, and that just means that I'm in a place like. Probably can't get out of it for a while. Just leave me be. Usually I don't get rude. Sometimes I get a little snappy because I'm fiery little mess. But most of the time I'm just neutral faced and I'm just kind of sitting and chilling with myself. But when you're surrounded by a bunch of people, you have to be happy all the time. So I'm just like, oh, I'm in a mood today. I'm just gonna hike quietly, get to the elephants, watch, and then just come home and chill. It's important.
Have you pinpointed the things that like kind of set you off? Like, maybe like big groups or.
No, here it's definitely not as bad. I've had maybe 2 full-blown anxiety attacks here.
Really?
2 full-blown. One was when I first got here because I was very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I actually almost considered leaving.
As an intern or as like
staff.
Okay.
So
staff.
after even coming back, and Carrie doesn't know this, but I actually was here for a first month considering going home.
Really?
Because I was miserable, but I was also straight off the Adderall for the first time since taking it.
Really?
I cut it cold turkey. And so I came here, the time changed, getting back into a routine was just too much.
So you think it was more like a biochemical thing?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because now, not
Love
on it. It's great. I love it here. I absolutely love it here. I can't imagine if I had gone home, honestly. But I'll just go sit in my room, just breathe a little bit, and it's fine.
Oh, man,
It's good.
it's crazy. Like
Go sit at the temple. Sitting at the temple's nice. If you're ever in a mood, temple's nice.
But I tell Roselle, like she does understand like what I talk about, or like when I try to describe it. So it's good. It's good. It's always good talking to people who like.
Got you.
Obviously,
Got
I mean,
you, Mata.
obviously we don't feel the same things. It's completely different for each individual, but
It's easier to
but it
understand.
sucks. Yeah. I want to go back a little bit to like when you're talking about growing up. You said you're always like super focused on school. Is that something your parents push you towards? Is that just
All
you?
me.
Did
My
they push you
mom-
either way, like sports, school, anything,
No,
or was it just like you can't do your own
always
thing,
been
Alex?
do your own thing. All of my siblings are smart, so it was just like get into the gifted programs, stuff like that. But it was, if you want to go play for a little bit, I wanted to go to university and play soccer. So my dad's like, that's hard, you need to start practicing, do it. And then it was, okay, I want to go Duke to study chemistry. Okay, get to it, start studying. Like,
And did they make you do it, or just like
no,
you just?
everything was okay, whatever crazy idea you had, even up until I was almost done with high school, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. The only thing my mom ever told me was, I don't think you should take a gap year because odds are you won't go back.
Yeah.
But other than that, nothing. Before I took this job, I was considering going to Australia, doing a working holiday visa for a year. I told my mom, she's like, that's great, you should go, I've always wanted to go. Told her that I wanted to go teach in Vietnam. Oh my god, okay, go teach in Vietnam. Told her I was going to do this. She's like, great, go see the fucking elephants. It's always whatever I wanted to do. But she's actually had to tell me to calm down and tell me that failing a class is okay. I'm the one that's really hard on myself and like wasn't getting straight A's in high school, and she was like, that's fine, it's not that important, like you can retake a class. My mom actually has to calm me down and tell me it's not as important.
That's beautiful, dude. Like you don't hear usually hear like, or I usually hear like the sad stories, like it was a tough upbringing, like my parents were this and that.
Very fortunate. I had a very great upbringing. My mom is my everything. I do have my stepdad, but my mom is my queen.
Yeah.
Like I celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day with her. She was always there for us growing up, and my sisters and I are all very close in age, 21, 23, 24 right now. So
Damn,
it was
crazy.
just her with us for a very long time.
That's a lot of estrogen.
2 of us broken bones at the same time. So she's my queen. She's always been very supportive. So I'm very fortunate. Even now, with both of them in my life, I am very self-sufficient, but if I need anything,
You know that.
they're always there. My mom's always like, so, like, you okay on money? Is everything okay out there? You need anything for your dog? She's always messaging me, making sure I'm okay. So I'm very fortunate with my upbringing.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's important to have a support system, dude.
Yep.
Like whether it's friends or family,
Of
whatever
course.
it is, like that just makes a huge difference. So I love hearing that from you. And then when we get a little bit older, you're going through school, like I said, once again, super crazy about doing everything perfectly. At what point did that like switch over as wasn't until you're in college and you had like your anxiety
When I
attacks?
was done in college, done with college, I was able to chill the fuck out. And I do want my master's and I want my PhD, but I decided that I've been working really hard for a long time, and
Yeah.
I deserved just to not for a little bit and calm down. And my plan wasn't to get a job in my career yet. I planned on traveling after my internship until I ran out of money, and then maybe getting a teaching job abroad and just having fun, working my serving job, making money and traveling, and that's it. But this just happened, and it's exactly what I wanted to do as a career, was research elephants.
Yeah.
So life just works out like that sometimes.
Oh man, that's crazy that you had a same thing with Chris, dude. Like he had a passion, like the filmmaking and all that, like from an early age. So from you saying that from 8 years old,
Yeah.
man, I want to do this, I
It's
want to go.
cool.
It's so rare for me to come across, because most people, I mean, even me, like I'm still dicking around, like trying to
Yeah.
find out what I want to do. So for you to have like a set goal, which obviously could change or pivot, or it has as time went on, but it's just it gives you like a tangible goal to
Yeah.
achieve, so you know like the steps you need to take to get there.
In the beginning, it was hard because everyone always said to me how they were jealous that I wanted to know exactly what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's not something you hear often. Usually I told people what I wanted to do and they were shocked because they've never heard that before. So with that, it's hard to do because you don't know the people to get you where you want to go, so you're kind of just sitting there figuring out, not really knowing where to start. So that always stressed me out. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I know where I want to be, but I don't know how to get there. It's not like sometimes I wish I just wanted to be a vet, because it's like, okay, you do this, you go to vet school, you get an internship, and then you're a vet.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that simple, but it's more of a path. But with this, it's not. So it wasn't until but I knew I would do it. At one point, I was like, I will get to where I want to be. I just need to let it happen. And once I decided to just let things happen, here we are.
But it's hard between like balancing that let things
Very hard.
happen and still like taking those steps, because it wasn't like you weren't doing anything. It was
Yeah.
like you were doing things to try to get so.
And I think, well, my original plan was when I finished traveling to go get my master's. And once I got my master's, it would be more serious. Like, okay, figure out how you want to get into this career aspect of your life. But I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready for the educational commitment. I wasn't ready to go into a career. I wanted to just stick around for a while. But it just happens. Like, I'm so young. Usually you don't get your career at 23 right out of undergrad.
Definitely not.
Just a couple months after graduating. So
I have a hard time finding a job, period.
yeah. So this, I mean, I'm not going to say it was luck, because nothing, you get what you work for, but it did kind of just fall into my lap unexpectedly. So I'm very fortunate for that.
You're so it's crazy. I try to think of like your old days, but you're freaking
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. But
I mean, I am a little crazy.
you're 5 years removed from high school. Like, what was that? So let's talk about that, dude. Like, how was the high school experience? I mean, obviously you're.
God, I had no friends. I hated everybody.
Really?
Oh, I hated everybody.
Was it just because you were just so focused on school, or were you just like the weird kid, or?
No, I wasn't the weird kid. I was, well, kind of. I mean, I was the debate captain, speech and debate captain. Of
course you were.
Which is why I really like talking. It's like I'm trained to talk, and I trained people on how to talk properly. But I was debate captain, really focused on school. I also had a boyfriend for 4 years that, not his fault, but I was lame. Like, I didn't want to do anything because I always wanted to hang out with my boyfriend, like any 16-year-old.
Okay.
But he would just kind of sit there and watch me do homework. That was us hanging out, because I always had stuff to do. But I just didn't enjoy high school. I didn't like the people. It was like snobby rich kids, and then kids that were bussed in
Your
from
private school or what?
No, public school. But
Upper class.
yeah, it was a mix. It was snobby rich kids, and then also kids bussed in from lower income areas.
Okay.
But these kids had to travel like 45 minutes to an hour just to get to school for no reason, just for diversity purposes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was probably 3 other high schools they drove past to get to ours, but it was just for diversity purposes. So of course those kids weren't happy there, and it wasn't great. Other than my AP courses, I was at school for 4 periods a day, and then I would go home, do virtual school.
What class did you have AP?
I did AP Calculus, AB, but I taught myself BC to get Calc 1 and 2 credit. AP Environmental Science, AP Chemistry, AP Statistics, AP English for 1 and 2, AP World, and AP American History. I think that's it. Surprisingly, all of them. Surprisingly, not AP Biology. And that's what I studied. I didn't have room for it.
That's so nuts,
Anything
dude. Because I seen.
I dual enrolled.
Even when I was in school, like I've seen like the girl that
Me?
you are. I've seen you and I've known them, but I never like got to really like just talk to
We're
them
pretty
and see what
cool.
gets you.
And I'm telling you, it's the nerds that are the craziest ones.
Oh,
The nerds are the crazy ones because they gotta let loose to deal with all the stress. All my friends that were huge nerds were the ones I would go batshit crazy with.
really?
Mm.
Damn.
Absolutely insane. And we have, from my aspect, I love chemistry. I love the chemical makeup of things, and I love to see how different mixtures of chemicals and substances affect you and affect your brain and affect your body. So there's a lot of experimentation with that aspect as well with my friends, because we're all like, oh, it's this and this chemical. Okay, I understand what it's doing. So for me, I understood what things were doing to me, and then I would take them.
That's so crazy.
Just to, experiment.
Yeah.
But it's cool to actually understand it.
For the cause of
as well.
science.
Yeah, exactly, for science. I would keep a little notebook. How I feel before, if it made me dream, if I felt bad the next day.
I completely believe that too. That's a sad
Like,
part.
well, this is the weird dream.
So, alright, so so you hated high school.
I hated high school.
What did the process look like getting into college? Like,
Oh, stressful. So I only applied to a handful of universities. I wanted to go to Duke in North Carolina.
Yeah.
That was my goal. It was my goal the
is
whole
that because
time.
the program? Is that just school?
They had a
Is that
lemur sanctuary where you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They did a lot of research on lemurs,
Huh.
and it was just a really good program.
Yeah, it's a great school.
Yeah, it's an amazing school. I really wanted to work in their lemur lab, but I just really wanted to go there. That was the goal. Other than that, I only applied to Auburn and University of South Florida. So I only applied to Auburn.
Was Auburn for the pre-vet track or
Not pre-vet,
really?
for more like sustainability and environmental conservation purposes. USF doesn't have that. USF was the only in-state school I applied to, the only Florida school. And then I applied to some random school in upstate New York because they kept telling me they'd give me a lot of money to go there. And I had to use the Common App for Duke, and it was something where you just could select different schools and send your application to, and they were on there, and it was free to apply to their schools. So
Yeah,
like, screw it.
why not?
But USF, Auburn, and Duke were the only ones I actually seriously applied to. Got rejected from Duke. Still bitter about it.
That's what I was
But-
gonna ask. Are you like, were
I'm
you heartbroken
so,
about
I
that?
was I was pissed. And I was at one of my dad's basketball games when I got
The
the
email?
rejection
Or-
email,
Oh.
and he knew that I was getting it. At one point, he looked over, and I was just sitting there like dead faced, blank. I was just staring at the floor, and he looked at my mom, and my mom shook her head no.
Time out.
She's like, nah, don't mention it. But it all works out. I would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And I ended up getting a full ride to both USF and to Auburn.
That's crazy.
The only reason I didn't go to Auburn was because you had to live in a dorm as a freshman and you couldn't have a car on campus. And I refused to live out of state without my car. It's very bratty reasons to not choose Auburn. I do wish I went to Auburn, though, because they had more environmental programs, like degrees and clubs and everything like that. USF was just biology.
How far are you from USF?
20 minutes.
Okay.
I lived at home. I mean, I had an apartment for a year, but then my lease was up and I graduated in a couple months. So I just moved back home. It was 20 minutes to 30, 40, depending on traffic.
Beautiful.
It was really close. Had my car, could do whatever I wanted. So it worked out, and I actually got paid to go to school at USF.
How's that through just scholarship or grants?
I had multiple academic scholarships, and they equaled out to be more than tuition.
Damn,
so I just got to check back every semester. So it all worked out wonderfully. I didn't have to go into debt for my bachelor's, just will go into debt for my master's, which I'm very lucky that I don't have any
it's
debt.
huge.
It's amazing. Most people can't say that. Yeah, so it all worked out to stay in state.
Did your parents help you like through the process of like getting to school, applying for things, scholarship?
Yeah, I didn't really ask for much help. The scholarships, one of them was just the Florida prepaid that you just automatically get if you take your SATs, and the other ones were just through USF. I didn't apply to multiple other scholarships.
Oh, really?
It was just through the state and through the university.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But I was a huge nerd, so I got like the top state and the top university scholarship.
That's awesome.
And I was mad at myself for my test grades. They weren't Duke level. They were Duke level. They were. Didn't get me in though.
Wow, that's nuts. You see, I always
good
wish
old days.
I always wish I could be just smart, dude. Like I was never that guy. Like like some people with just different gifts.
It is my favorite thing about myself. It's the one thing about myself that I will seriously brag about, is my brain.
I was gonna ask you, like, do you find a hard time being humble about that, or is it just like something?
No, because I am always challenged. I mean, I'm not like some genius. I just naturally am able to learn. I'm good at certain things, but not others. Like, I'm very good at math and I'm very good at sciences, but if you give me something like spatially aware, I have no idea. So there are a lot of people meet me and they think I'm dumb until they realize that I was a nerd, until they meet me. But so many people, they just talk to me through work or something, and then they learn I'm smart and they're shocked. I guess I sound like a ditz sometimes. I don't know. A little spacey.
Airhead white girl.
I'm a little spacey sometimes, but or they'll meet me, you know, in like the other
different
side,
setting.
different setting,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
at a festival or like in like a not school related friend group, and they're like, damn. But some of my friends tell me that I'm one of the smartest people they know, and that's really nice. It's the only thing I really care about. I don't care about anything else, but I do value being smart.
That's awesome.
Value it. It's hard though when you're not studying.
Oh,
Just keep it up.
No,
Okay.
you
Here I
don't
like
use it,
playing
you lose it.
Sudoku and
Yeah,
reading
yeah.
random articles just to be able to keep it up.
So you transitioned from high school to college. Like, what was that? You're at USF. You're starting off. Is it like normal? Was it like easy?
In
But
the
you said you got
beginning, it was very easy
Okay.
because it was all science, but it was like general chemistry,
Yeah,
general
yeah.
biology, the things that you've known, like general physics.
things you already went through.
Yeah, things I already went through, and I was able to just get by. Like
Yeah.
physics, I never paid attention, but was fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got into the really hard elective upper level courses
Uh-huh.
that I realized I actually needed to study, and that's when I learned I don't know how to study, and my brain doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So it wasn't until I was taking one of the most interesting classes I was ever in, taught by the most brilliant professor, biology of sharks and rays. It was absolutely amazing.
That was the class?
Yeah, that was the class. It was 11 a.m., my first class of the day. I only had like 3 classes, so it was easy. I should have been able to be awake, but no matter what, I couldn't stay awake. I couldn't focus. I couldn't listen. This man's brilliant. I feel honored to have taken 3 of his classes, and I just could not listen.
At the time, you even knew, like, oh, okay, like I really want to be
Something-
awake for this, but something's wrong.
Yeah, I couldn't. Like I would.
You're right.
Are you okay?
The top just came off. I was pouring my
I would turn off my phone. I would have no other stimulation around me, and I would
And you're just like dozing off.
I would actually count the dots on the ceiling tiles.
Really?
In all seriousness, to
What
not
the
pay
hell?
attention. So I was like, all right, I need to go to the doctor. My doctor is a family friend. She told me how it was weird that, these kind of things would show up later in life. And I was like, well, I mean, I just thought I was smart, but I thought I was a little lazy maybe, just tired. But I took the test, and I think high probability for adult ADD was like a 70, and I was like an 89,
Oh,
90.
What was the test? Like what
An
kind of
online test.
Okay.
And it was like
Just
when
like a questionnaire? Or-
yeah, like
okay.
when this kind of stuff happens,
What
how do you
react?
feel? How long does it take you? Do you do better with focusing on one thing or multitasking or stuff like that? I can't focus on one
They
thing.
said you listen to music and you read a book.
Yeah,
Like, that sounds
I
insane
have
me.
to be doing 6 things at one time, or
That's
like
crazy.
study for like 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, go back. Because one thing, it just goes all over the place.
That's nuts.
But I was actually failing 3 of my classes, and then I got.
Were you just devastated like that? I mean,
I
you're
was
failing.
pissed.
Yeah.
I was pissed. I didn't know what to do. Luckily, I had very good friends. At that time, I met some of my best friends, and I have now 3 people from school, and we ended up having all the same classes and did for years. But they helped me a lot, and after I got put on Adderall, I didn't change a damn thing about my studying, and my grades went up to A's and B's.
Really?
I just wasn't retaining it. I'd read one sentence 6 times, and it just wouldn't stick. And it was stuff that I loved. It was the stuff I want to learn.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't stay.
That's nuts. You
And
hear
then it
that
just
about Adderall,
flipped.
but like I've never taken it, but I have buddies who do it, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Before that, I'd only taken it once or twice to sit down and like cram.
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
the first time I was taking it for me, where I didn't want to take extended releases because I didn't want to feel like I was on something all day. I'd rather it be short term and then dosing
do you
it.
feel it like stimulating you, or is it
No.
just like you
I'm just
felt-
able to listen.
Huh.
Like it was. I remember the first time I took it for class at a dose that was for me, and I was just sitting there listening to my professor talk.
You're like, huh?
And no, I did. I sat there. I was like, huh? Is this how?
Is that what those bills?
People go to class. They just sit, and I wasn't jittery. I'm more jittery when I'm not on it. But I would just sit there and just listen to him talk. Actually, take notes. Remember what he said a little bit later. It was great.
Do you understand the mechanism that makes that work? Like how that works in your brain opposed to
Yeah.
somebody else's
So
brain?
our brains have a connection missing.
Uh-huh.
There's something missing. So imagine like a string broken, and it kind of ties the string back together. Is what it does. There's a connection missing. But I'm not hyperactive. I'm the complete opposite, where I was really tired and zombie-like.
Huh.
And I wasn't able to listen. I was always just tired.
I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah. It's like, so it's not ADHD, it's ADD. But there's so many different forms of it.
Yeah.
Where some people are really tired. I would be exhausted, but I'd be like jittering my hands and unable to not move my leg, but I'd still be asleep. It was very strange. But this was all the time.
And this was like
I thought it was
when
normal.
you were 5 years old.
I thought it was normal. I thought I was just tired.
So did everything just come that easy to you? I guess throughout schooling that you didn't.
Yes.
It was in your problem. That's nuts.
Yes. Up through calculus-based physics 2
God.
and organic chemistry 1. I failed Orgo 2. That was that semester.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah. Before that, I was fine. I just didn't study and never studied.
Yeah.
Calc-based physics I took because I like physics, and I tested out of it for college, so I thought the only difference between algebra and calculus-based physics was the math. It's not true. I was the only non-engineer in that class, but I was able to never study a damn thing, and I got a C+.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You're a stud, dude.
I think so. But after that, I failed. Started failing, so there's that.
And then, all right, so you get on the Adderall. You say what? You're 18, 19?
19.
19. You get on the Adderall, and then is it smooth sailing from there? Is it ups and downs? Or?
I mean, it hyped up my anxiety a lot.
Like made you way more sensitive to like crash?
So much more anxiety. Like if I got stressed, I couldn't calm down because your heart rate is so much increased.
Yeah.
Also, at the time, I was already dependent on caffeine. I drank so much coffee, so much espresso, which is really bad to drink when you're on Adderall because it increases your heart rate. Like, it can actually cause heart attacks, but I was already so dependent on caffeine that even when I took the Adderall, I needed coffee. So I was not doing good things for my heart. So it was a lot of things to speed up anxiety. And I also had really bad sleeping problems. I could not sleep.
Really?
But it was also stress. Like, I would be at the library till 3, 4 a.m., go home for a couple hours, come back at 7 a.m., and then have class from 9 to 5, and then do it all every day. But it was the course load. I had to. And I definitely I took more than I was supposed to. It was supposed to be 2 30 milligrams a day. But I would break them in half and do them every, 2 to 3 hours instead of every 4 hours. And then sometimes I'd be taking, so that's supposed to be 60, and I remember days I'd take 90 to 100 a day.
Damn.
For multiple days. And I would try to not take it over the weekend to give your brain a break, but then I'd have to work. And then I was so tired from the week that I couldn't go work from 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. without taking it.
That's what
so
I
I
was
was
gonna ask.
very dependent.
Yeah, I was gonna ask,
Very
did you feel like that much more? Like, you already feeling tired, before you were taking it, you already feel out of it. Was it that much worse? Like, once you would be off it for a weekend or for a day, would you?
I was a zombie.
Oh, really?
I couldn't function. I was very, very addicted to it. Very dependent on it. It's a terrible thing. That's why I didn't want to go on it, but I was failing, so I had to. I didn't have a choice.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, very dependent on it, but I would make it work to not take it some days, so then I could have extra to take other days, and make a little side money when I come work. Shit goes high during exam week. Little white girl.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly, and I already had a cocaine addiction as well.
Oh.
That's what I was using to study before I was put on it.
Really?
I would sit at my desk.
Little bump here, little bump there. Damn.
Just to stay awake to do my homework. I'd get home from work at midnight, have to study for a couple hours, so I'd do a couple lines.
Oh.
Very unhealthy.
No, that sounds terrible.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
I'm fucking up my heart.
Yeah,
my poor heart.
All right, so go ahead.
Girl, I don't know. I connect with you so much right now. I'm like, oh, I feel ya. I've been there.
So you
gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Oh, you absolutely do. But you go through all right, so going through all that, you've seen the positive and negative effects of the Adderall. I mean, everything you're doing. Would you recommend that to people now? Because obviously you did benefit highly from it. Would you recommend someone getting
if you actually need it? Yes. And I know a lot of people that really did struggle, and I was like, maybe you should go get tested, because if you honestly aren't able to function, it's worth it. But you have to be careful. And I tell people you just need to be really careful, because I did become very dependent on it. But I also have a very addictive personality.
Yeah.
Me being here this time around, I've been here for 7 months. That means I've been 7 months clean of cocaine. And that was really hard. That was another thing I was weaning off of when I got here, so it was really hard. But anyone can be really addicted. It's pretty much meth. Adderall is meth, so you need to be careful, but I do think it is good if you need it. It's abused so much, though, and so when people hear that you actually have it, there's a stigma against it, so you don't actually want people to know you're on it, because they assume that you want help studying and stuff like that. You're trying to put yourself ahead. I was like, no, I'm smarter than you anyways. I can't retain it.
I was gonna say, did you feel any of that negative stigma from friends or outsiders, family, anyone looking down on you or judging you?
No, my mom was concerned when I called her and told her that I had to leave work because of an anxiety attack.
Okay.
I walked into work, froze, couldn't breathe, sat in the office crying for 30 minutes, and then was told to go home.
Really?
And my mom was like, maybe you shouldn't be on this, if you're having that much of an issue. But I was like, no, I need to go study, and I just went to the library. I blame school. I don't blame the drug. I blame school. It was so bad. But other than that, no, my family was supportive of it. They were worried, but I think since I was open about it to them, they weren't worried as much. I didn't really talk to people about it at work. I mean, I worked at a bar.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get negative from that. You want to get people wanting to have it.
Yeah.
I wasn't in a very healthy environment. Great people, but not the healthiest environment.
Yeah, for sure. Damn. Hell, you had to run, dude. Have you ever had like any, I guess like depression issues aside from all that? Like,
it's more anxiety than depression,
anxiety?
But yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely more anxiety.
Yeah.
That's it.
Alright, so you had a great run through college.
College is
sounds like
good.
you had a good
College
time.
was a good time.
How old are you?
23.
Oh, okay.
College was a good time.
And
I'm very much looking forward to it.
I hated college. I would remember going, like, visiting people that were still in high school, and they were like, oh my god, I can't wait for college. I'm like, no, you can wait. College was so hard. They were like, what, they don't take attendance? Nah, they mark you. They will take off a letter grade if you're not there. They don't give homework. I have more homework than I ever had in high school.
Like, I was taking classes nowhere near your workload, and I was the same way. Like,
It was so
I was in
hard.
the library. I lived in the library. Rosella would be pissed at me because I was in there all night. She thought I was like doing
something else.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm literally in the 24-hour room in the library.
Exactly.
Oh, it was terrible. It was hard, dude. I mean, school. to me,
School's
was
hard no matter what.
It was hard.
I don't
It's ridiculous.
undermine anything you study. Like, so many people will say certain tracks are not as hard, but it's different. Everything's different, and everyone has different brains. Like, just because I think
I might just
science
hang out
is more work, it doesn't mean it's any more work than marketing or than teaching or anything. Like, everything is hard no matter what you do, and everyone learns differently. So it just depends on the person. University sucks either way.
Yeah. I love that you said that right now, because that's something I wanted to point out that I've noticed about you. It's not even complete. It's a different subject, but you're very good at hedging both sides of any argument. And I don't know if that stems from your debate background or what. Because where's Jada? Oh, she's not here. But whenever she will say something completely on this side of any case, like even if it's something you agree with, you're always willing to give the other point of view. Like whether it is game hunting or the Chinese or whatever it is. Like you're always willing to put the other side in. Like, and I respect that about you.
Thank you. Well, I value everyone's opinions, and I think if someone genuinely believes in something for the right reasons, they have the right to do it. It's when they are just doing it to act some type of way. Like, people will ask me why I eat the way I do. Like, I choose to not eat meat and this and that. And if they try to shove meat down my throat, then I'm going to come at you and make you look like a fool. But if you tell me why you eat meat and why you think it's okay, that's fucking great. You eat it. I just think everyone has the right to do what they want to do, believe what they want to believe, as long as they're not trying to negatively influence other people. As long as you have a good heart, I don't care. Like, a big thing at home, of course, is Trump. I hate him. I think he's terrible, but I know a lot of people that do support him for business reasons, and I'm like, no, you fucking go for it, you vote for him. But it's people that are just fans, it's dumb. So I think, and I love hearing how other people think. I think the brain is really cool, and everyone thinks differently, and I love hearing people's opinions. I love the people that you can have those conversations with that are so different from you, but you can still actually have a conversation and learn about them, but not feel put down by the conversation. I think it's really important to let people think the way they want to, especially when you do think weirdly. Like, I have a lot of out there views, and I know what it feels like to be put down, and I don't ever want to make people feel like that. If you piss me off, I'll tell you piss me off, but if you have a valid opinion for something, you go for it.
No, I love that about you, dude, and it's something I've noticed, like you said, like very like on the low, because you'll throw out, you even say it to yourself, or just say it to another person, or just kind of whisper over here. But not a lot of people are willing to do that. A lot of people are gonna hold their ground and just especially in front of like different people or group of people. Like, people aren't gonna give any room for the other side of the argument. So that's something like I rarely come across in any circle. So like I love that about you.
And I'm open, and I love learning. And you never know, if you shut someone down, they could have something to teach you. Even if you still don't agree, they could still teach you something. And if you just shut someone down, they're never going to have that opportunity to share that. So just let them say their opinion, as long as they're doing it in a respectful way. The minute you disrespect me, I'm going to shut your ass down. But if we can have a respectful conversation, I'd love to hear what you have to say, no matter what it's about.
I completely agree with that. Most of your guys' conversations, like, I just kind of like butt out. And the biggest thing for me is because I know, like, I'm naturally like just contrarian, so I'm always gonna play devil's advocate.
Oh, I love that though.
So instead of even going there, I was like,
I feel like we both do it.
When I first got here, I was like, oh god, it's gonna be 8 weeks with these people. Like, I'm not gonna touch politics. I'm not gonna touch anything just because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So like when I hear you guys do your things, like I'm not getting involved in this. It's like not a negative thing, but I just don't want to.
And
I just
also,
avoid those things.
You never know how people are gonna react.
Yeah.
But I love the devil's advocate because it makes you think.
Makes you work.
Yeah, exactly. But some people are very hard-headed and they don't have that. So I get like that sometimes where I want to say something and I'm just like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's just like digging at you. It's like in your.
You see it in my face.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I feel like I give certain people a look too.
Yeah. It just like burns a little bit in your gut.
It does. Yeah. It hurts when I have to bite my tongue. It's it hurts. So you gotta do it sometimes.
Love that, dude. Love that. So when was your first stint? We'll jump ahead like just up until now. Like when was your first stint here in Thailand or at Kindred Spirit? Like as you came as a volunteer or intern?
Yep.
Okay.
I was a research intern a year ago for 3 months. So
how did you even find out or get involved with the program?
I've done a lot of volunteering internationally, so it's just I know how to Google. I knew how to look for things. I knew I wanted to work with Asian elephants just because I've worked with African elephants. I didn't care where in Asia. Like I looked in multiple different places, but this place seemed the right fit for me because it was. And
this is a year ago? A little bit over a year ago?
Yeah, a little bit over a year ago. I came.
I feel like you've been here like 30 years.
I know. I left home February 1st, 2018. So I got here February 3rd, 2018. So just over a year. Yeah, it's crazy.
You and I would have showed up at the same time.
It's crazy.
That's so crazy.
But I was an intern. I loved it. I had a great time. I wasn't expecting a job. The girl that was working here at the time was leaving, and a teaching intern who was a little older, she was like having a mom around. She came up to me and she was like, hey, just so you know, Tally is leaving and I told Carrie she should hire you. And I was like, what? I'm sorry, what? And then Carrie came up to me one day and was like, hey, noticed you really take an interest in everything. It's awesome. Doesn't happen a lot. You want to apply for the job. And there we are. Here we are. It was mine.
That's so crazy, dude.
Yeah, it just fell into my lap. I was going to just travel, plan on spending like a month in Vietnam, going over to Australia. I actually had my working holiday visa approved the night I got hired for the job.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like, shit, that's a lot of money, and that visa's down the drain now. It expires in April, and I'm not going, so.
Was that... I feel like you don't give yourself enough credit though. Like it obviously it didn't fall into your lap. Like you obviously did something while you were here.
Yeah.
What was it like? Like okay, you got here as an intern. Like what were you expecting? And like for me, like this is my 3rd week here. So I'm trying to think like through your eyes or your mind, like what were you expecting, and like what did reality look like once you got here?
The way I travel is to not have expectations. Okay. Because then you can't be disappointed.
It's life.
It's life. Like, just don't have expectations. I mean, it was a culture shock, but I've been to Africa multiple times, and I've been in the culture shock, and like I said, I love it. I love the culture shock. So I instantly made really good friends here. I was really close with a couple people that were here for a while, and it was great. I mean, I had a great time from the start. I just loved that I was seeing elephants every day, honestly, and it was research that I'm interested in. I've always my goal is to do behavioral research on elephants in general, so I just caught an interest, and I think I just acclimated to the lifestyle very quickly.
Just crushed it.
Yeah, just smashed it, you know? It's me. Of course I did.
And then how long were you towards the end of your internship that they offered you the job? Or they approached you with that?
It was about a month and a half in. Okay. So I was here for about a month and a half. Yeah, 5-6 weeks, I think. Maybe 7.
And did you think about it at all, or was it like immediately like, all right, I'm in?
I did, but it was also my outlook. Like I did have so many options and other things I wanted to do. I wasn't looking or ready for this kind of commitment. But my thought process was this opportunity does not happen. You need to take it. Yeah, exactly. Like it's exactly what you want to do. Why wouldn't you take it? It's dumb to not take it. So.
What did your parents tell you? You just like
go for it? Yeah, my mom was upset. but that I was
About you being
leaving.
gone?
Yeah, about me leaving. But I think just because she knew it was always going to happen, at least this time she had a warning. I was coming home for a little bit, and then she knew I was leaving. When I went to Africa, if I had something to do, I wouldn't have come home. Like, I just would have stayed.
Really?
So I think she was glad that it wasn't one of those phone calls just like, hey, Mom, not coming home. Never going to come home by. Like, she had that window, but she's just excited that I'm doing what I want to do and that I'm happy. So.
Yeah. So you go back home. How long were you home before you came back?
Like a month and a half.
Came a month and a half
Ish.
home. Get back out here, and like you said, like this first month was just rough.
First month was rough, but it was a lot of withdrawal.
Oh yeah, that's what she said.
There was a lot of withdrawal, so that was hard. It was raining nonstop. Like, there was never sunshine.
Oh gosh.
So it was rough.
Just miserable weather.
Yeah. I mean,
Miserable
Jade didn't
feelings.
come from till I was here for a month. So, you know,
Okay.
Jade helped because it was very negative energy when I first got here.
Oh really?
There were 3 interns that were here for a year, and it was towards the end of their year. So they were fed up. Like, they were ready to go.
Yeah.
There were 2 other interns that were here that just weren't.
Interning for a year.
Yeah, 3. It was like a study abroad.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
And then there were 2 other interns that were here for like 5-6 weeks.
Okay.
And they were just kind of
Just done too, or
yeah,
just
they were
whatever?
just kind of negative, like they were neutral.
Okay.
And then the girl that got hired at the same time as me, as the teaching coordinator, was shit, and I just had to deal with her. And so it was just a lot of
Like not a good worker, or just like didn't get along with her.
not a good
Personality-wise?
worker.
Okay.
We got along.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I'd like to think I can make it work with anyone. Like, I can make a connection and make it work with anyone, but she just was not. It was just like not having another worker.
Okay.
And that's what I came into. And then the girl that I was replacing was just done. So it was just a lot of negativity. But then Jade came at the same time as Bia, and at the same time as my research intern Carly, who's
Okay.
actually taking my job when Jade leaves. So they all came together, and it was like a breath of fresh air.
So did it feel like you guys kind of built this up like over this past year, like to what it is now, like from scratch, pretty much? Or I mean, obviously there was a
Kind
groundwork
of.
of
I
everything.
mean, pretty much everything that we do on project is how Jade and I like it.
but, okay.
Like, there's obviously ways that things are just that we were taught is how they are,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
just
yeah.
that. But Jade and I are both very particular.
Yeah.
And so we do things the way we like to do them. And of course, like, Bia just does the school stuff.
Yeah.
But the day-to-day runnings,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Jade and I just do what we want.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we have that ability, but it's going to be weird when they leave. When they both leave me.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
day. Is it weird, like being younger and like having to yell at a grown man or woman, like,
Yes
hey,
and
get
no.
away from the elephant?
No, I love the authority.
Okay.
And I love that. But it's when things go wrong. And my interns are 27, 28 with master's degrees. And I'm 23 with a bachelor's. And my flash drive decides to wipe itself clean and I lose a month of data. Where I'm like, shit. Like, but other than that, I never really feel like that.
No.
Maybe when people talk about shows they watched, I'm like, wow, I'm a baby. But other than that, no, because I know what I'm doing and I'm very confident.
Yeah.
In,
and it shows.
in our job, and I know our elephants really well,
Yeah.
and I'm very comfortable if someone doesn't listen to me, I'll take their ass home. I don't really care. I love it. I love yelling at people. I think it's a great time.
That's another thing I don't have. Like I
No, I love it.
never be like that
love it.
confrontational. No.
Oh, I love it.
I avoid confrontation like that.
I love a good
That's how I
fight.
am. I
Oh
can-
yeah, gets me going.
I'm not that guy.
I thrive in the chaos.
It's weird. In my brain, I think that I would enjoy, like, I sometimes fantasize about having big, huge arguments and fights with
Oh, yeah,
people.
you play
and
it
be
all
like,
out in your head.
That's what I want. But, like,
I
the
love
second
it.
I'm faced with that situation, I'm like, okay, goodbye.
And I mean, I pick and choose my battles. Sometimes it's not worth it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
oh no, I love it.
Oh,
So
I
funny.
love. I have a problem with authority, and that's another reason why I tend to like quit jobs after a year is because I don't do well with listening to people, especially when I know I'm good at what I do. When someone tries to tell me what to do, I get really, really angry. And it's the same as why I'm not in a relationship because I have issues with authority and having that kind of relationship with someone. So here it's great because everyone respects each other and no one really tells each other what to do.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, we should do this, but we all respect each other, even with Carrie being our boss. Like,
Yeah.
she lets us do our thing while we're here, so don't have that issue, but yeah, I love being in charge.
And you need that, dude, like in a project like this because like
Definitely.
it is like communal, like little work site. Like you're freaking
Definitely.
like dependent on each other to do the things, get things done. If not, you die. You don't die, but I mean,
But it'd
things
be
go to
shit.
crap real quickly.
It'd be shit to
Yeah.
live in that situation
Yeah.
if it didn't all work.
Yeah.
So the minute someone, like if people come and they're here for a while, and like of course it's not their fault, so I'll try to say it nicely. Sometimes sometimes I just naturally sound like a bitch. But Kay, make sure you do it this way. Make sure you do this.
Yeah.
You know, we're all together. It needs to be done a certain way.
No, yeah, for sure.
I do have issues with change. Like, I don't like if if the rugs are switched, I'm like, who switched the rugs? If like something's moved, I'm like, who moved that? But
That's
it's okay. It's just me, a little OCD.
I get it. All right, man. You're here for. You're signed to another year contract?
I am.
Another year contract.
Another year contract.
Are you gonna go home first?
Yes, I go home in March for 2 weeks, and then in July, when my contract is up, I'm taking 3-ish weeks off.
Okay.
I'll be in Thailand, but taking time off.
So what are you expecting this next year to look like with the project itself? What are some of your goals or visions that you have?
Well, it depends. I definitely want to write a paper, even though, so now I'm the research coordinator, and next year I'll be project assistant. And my outlook on it is I have a year of paid research experience, and then I'll have a paid year of management experience. So on the resume, it's great. That's the main reason I wanted to switch over. I will have an issue letting go of the research. It will be really hard for me, but I think it will give me time to sit down and focus on writing a paper to get published for the project. That's the whole goal. Right now I don't have time, and we also don't have enough data for my satisfaction. But the main goal is to write a paper. And
That's
other
awesome.
than that, just to continue living life.
Are you good with scientific writing?
I love it.
I
love it. I think it's so fun, especially when you actually enjoy what you're writing about.
That's true.
I think it's so much fun. It's stressful. Like, I don't know nearly enough about Excel. So I literally just sit there and stare at my computer sometimes because I get frustrated. But I love writing scientific papers. I think it's so fun. Nerd.
Okay, so that's what you have for your next year here. What is I mean, it's hard to look even after that, but like, what does
the next year
do the next 5 years, 10 years, anything after Kindred Spirit?
I would like to be Dr. Johncola, elephant behavioral specialist.
It's beautiful.
That's what I'd like. PhD. Throw that in there. But I want a master's and a PhD because I don't want to go straight into PhD because I want to learn so much. And I also originally wanted a master's in research. I wanted a behavioral research field. But with this job, don't really need that. So I'm thinking about getting a master's more in conservation management to be able to run something. And then a PhD in parasitology because I fucking love it.
Parasites,
I just love them. I think they're so cool. So they're even though I'd technically be like a doctor of parasites, I'd love to relate the two. I'd love to relate behavior and parasitology, but I want to be a elephant behavioral specialist.
Damn. So I want to do everything, huh?
Yeah. That's why I haven't done it yet. I don't know what to do. Because originally it was just, okay, research. I'm like, shit, I see the benefits to having a degree in conservation management, especially since I have the research experience. Most of the time, experience goes over a degree anyways. So, but I still want the degree because I love learning. And I just think it would be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Master's and PhD.
Yeah, that look nice.
Dr. Johncola, 100%.
There's a ring to it.
But if I'm happy doing what I'm doing, I'm not stressed about getting the degrees. Like, it doesn't matter as long as I'm happy. If I don't need the degrees and I end up exactly where I am, like, I just want to be able to say Dr. Johncola.
I love that you're honest about that.
Yeah, it's literally just for the title. I can gain
that.
the education and gain the jobs that I want without the degree.
Yeah.
But I want the degree. I want to be able to say I'm Dr. Johncola.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that'll be on your driver's
that's
license.
Cool.
And shit.
Yeah, I want that little placard.
And Dr. Johncola has a nice ring to it.
It does.
We came full circle with Johncola.
Just needed the doctor.
Yeah, we'll finish with this, dude. Like, you have such high expectations for yourself, like in life in general. Part A, the last question. Do you wish you would have done anything differently? Like, looking back just over the past 10 years?
No? Everything happens for a reason. Sometimes I wish I just wanted to be a vet and I just wanted to do this, but I don't regret the way anything has happened. Everything happens for a reason, and if I changed anything different, I might not be where I am right now. So there's no point in regretting anything. It's done. Why change anything?
Perfect. And then
maybe not have drug addictions, but that's part of it.
Whoever vices.
That's a part of it,
You win some, you lose some.
It makes me the fun, crazy little thing I am.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, this
and then what?
Crazy. I just want to drink.
Like, you have, like I said at the beginning, you had so many like goals and such high expectations. Like, what advice would you give someone, a kid going into high school, a kid going to middle school, just like who do hold themselves with a lot of pressure? With high expectations, whether it comes from themselves or from their parents or from family, friends, whatever it is, like, how was there anything that anyone could have told you to help manage that, or is there anything you would like to tell them? I don't know.
To just calm down and let things happen. Like, yes, work towards your goals, have goals to work towards, but understand that not everything is going to happen. Failing is such an important part of growing up. Like, kids being raised to get participation trophies and stuff like that is stupid. Like, not everything's going to be the way you want to. You're not always going to get the job. You're not always going to get the grades. It's okay to fail classes. So if shit happens that's off your track, it's okay. Just keep working towards it, and whatever's supposed to happen will, even if it's not what you originally planned.
Perfect.
That's what I would do. Boom.
Oh, we did that sober too?
I know.
Now let me introduce the world to my girl. She white, she bright, she shine like a pearl. And I ain't talking about Lindsay Lohan, I'm talking about that sniff that blow, man. That one hit that'll get you open, might make your nose bleed if it's potent. So if you're not ready, homie, don't tamper with it. She the chick who had Tony Montana slipping. She's so bad, she make you mad, but soon as you get mad, she make you cash. That white girl, but she ain't always that light. She ain't always that bright. She ain't always that white. Nope. Give me one girl, I mean 1 gram. I teach you how to give a white girl a suntan. Put it in that pot till it get that hot, then start to serve, mix a lot.
How'd you guys like that, huh? There's cheetahs, elephants, dogs, cocaine, a little bit of everything. All the stuff you have fun with. But yeah, dude, I mean, I can't stress it enough. Like, just how, like a better word, just how cool of a person Alex is. She's so young, so it's a trip to, it's kind of weird, like, saying that about someone so young, or that much younger than me. Like, we look, even when you're, let's say 25 and you're looking at an 18-year-old, like, she, I mean, even her at 23, I'm sure she looks at 18-year-olds and just looks at them as babies and just, like, as people who have no clue what they're doing. But, like, I look at Alex, who's 7 years younger than me, and I feel like, oh no, like, she's way more in control of her her life and her thoughts and her passions than I ever will be. So it's a trip, dude, how everything's so relative. Still out here on the street, about to finish up working. We have like a couple more, I guess we have one more night here after tonight, so try to take this in. We got 5 more weeks at the village, trying to survive this internship. Hope you guys had fun listening to this. What else we got? Help us out with the GoFundMe, with the elephant, with the fundraiser we're doing for the 2 female elephants at the camp, or not camp, but sanctuary, whatever it is, in the forest. I'll put links at the GoFundMe page. I mean, if you guys want to, then I'm sure you can find it through some of my stuff. Besides that, I'll be putting the same kind of stuff out every week. Follow Kindred Spirit Elephant Sanctuary on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. And I think that's it. Love you guys. We'll check in soon.
We're down in the dirt, it's south to be exact. Getting money with white girls is a well-known fact. I like them black, brown, Puerto Rican, or Asian, but nothing bring the bread back like a Caucasian. Whether winter, fall, summer, spring, a white girl's always down for doing the damn thing. Put her on the highway, she ain't no punk. Got a white girl driving with white girls in the trunk. Hold up, I ain't lying, it's the best thing going. When my white girl's around, it's always snowing. Mama can't stand her, telling me to switch, saying I'ma go to jail fucking with that white bitch. No shit. Always around to keep me paid. With some white girls on my team, I got it made. So if you're down on your luck and got no money, then do what I do. What? Go get your snow bunny, man.
White girl, white girl, white girl, white girl. I got that. White girl, white girl, white girl, white girl, white girl. I got that. White girl, white girl, white girl, white girl, white girl. I got that. White girl.